Hello Watch Fam! Today I'll be reviewing the newly unveiled Spinnaker Croft Midsize. Enjoy! Before I get to the review, I would like to mention that the folks at Spinnaker has kindly gave me a 15% discount code, which I am putting at the description below. I do get a small commission from every sale using the code, but please be assured, as usual, I strive to remain as unbiased as I can on all my reviews, and I am under no obligation to give them a rave review. You can use this code for this watch when it is launched on the 23rd. Let's start with the specifications. The watch has a diameter of 40mm, a rather compact lug-to-lug of 46.5mm, a thickness of 13.8mm, and a very common lug width of 20mm, which is always a good thing. Overall, I think these are pretty nice dimensions, which would fit a variety of wrists, though it would have been nice if it was a little bit thinner. This can be attributed to the rather thick bezel and caseback, as you can see here. It does stand quite pretty tall, both front and back. In real-world situations, however, I expected it to be chunky, but it really did not feel that much different from other dive watches that I have, which are a little bit thinner at about 13mm. It has a water resistance of 150 meters, which is a little lower than what I would say an industry standard of 200 meters. In reality, it is more than enough for any diver. Here you can see me trying to test it out at about 1.5 centimeters depth. It passed with flying colors. It has a sapphire crystal with AR coating. You can see it's rather quite clear over here. A slightly bluish tinge to it, and it is something I have come to expect from micro brands these days. I am honestly much preferring sapphire crystals, as most of my watches that have them are scratchless so far. And believe me, I have put my watches through some rough times. The case is also an industry standard 316L stainless steel. The bezel is a 120 click unidirectional bezel, which is made from aluminium. You can hear here, it's among the loudest and that's, I say, satisfying click of all the watches that I've owned so far, with a little bit of backplay. In the month that I've had it, it might have been the watch that I've fidgeted with the most so far, though you might not want to do it during meetings, as it is quite loud. The deep green, matte green of the bezel is actually pretty nice as well. It's something that I like. And I don't have a green watch, that's why I kind of chose this colorway too. Black dial has a sand-like texture that is typical of Spinnaker. The Spinnaker name is at the top with automatic and 500 feet or 150 meters printed in red at the bottom. On a personal note, in this case, I think I would prefer the print to be in silver like the rest. The placement and finishing of the hands and indices are one of the nicest I've seen at this price point. You need a loop to see any blemishes if there are any. Let's come to a controversial point of the watch, the Cyclops. I have mentioned in the past that I don't mind them as they don't annoy me, but I would prefer not to have them. I feel similarly here. I would prefer that it came without the Cyclops. Do let me know if you like or dislike Cyclops in the comments below. A plus point is that the dead wheel matches the color of the dial. As for the lume, it is quite good, and from my personal test, it is just slightly less brighter than my Seiko SKX, which in itself has very good lume. It is strange that I'm coming to expect at least Seiko level lumes on new dive watches these days, and this really does show how good micro brands really are. The movement powering this watch is the tried and trusted Seiko NH35. Some people might gripe at that, but I have never had issues with any of mine. They are good workhorse movements. And for this price, I think it's pretty solid. The crown is signed, which is something that I like. It is interesting to note that all the watches that I had so far have different crown actions. Here it is not the smoothest, to be honest. It feels a little rough to screw in and out, but the winding action, as well as the time and date changes, are actually quite smooth. Yep, just a little bit rough here. The Caseback on the other hand is also quite plain. It's not as elaborate as some of the other micro brands that I've had so far, but truth be told, not many of us look at it very often. Unless you're someone who really likes to look at the movement, in which case it's not a see-through Caseback anyway here. The 2-stitch leather strap that comes with it is thick, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty similar to the flues that I reviewed about 2 years ago. The main difference is that it is quite a bit more supple and not as rigid. It is not straight out of the box comfortable, but about a week or so of wearing it, it already has been a lot more comfortable than when it came in. So not a long breaking time is needed. Another key thing to note is that it is actually water resistant leather, as you can see here, which is not very common, especially not for stock straps that come with watches, and this is definitely a plus point. Here you can see it on my 5 3/4 inch wrist. I would say that personally I like 39 to 40mm watches, and kudos to Spinnaker here for making it at 40mm, which would be, I'm pretty sure, a sweet spot for many people. So it's great that they added this variant to the Croft line. So my final thoughts on this watch. It being 40mm, which is 3mm smaller than the current Croft, this Croft Midsize I believe hits the sweet spot for many people out there. At $280 it comes with a leather strap, and at that price I think the specs are pretty good. But if you use the 15% discount code that I'm putting in the description below, it brings it down to about $238, which then I believe is actually a steal. It comes with sapphire glass, it has a nice action bezel, it also comes with a workhorse NH35 movement, tried and tested. All of that brings up to a nice package. Of course it has some drawbacks, which is the Lume. It is not as good as Seiko, it's very close, not as good though, but that's not bad, not too bad I think. The crown does screw in a little bit tight, it doesn't feel too smooth to screw in. Other than that, overall I really do think it's pretty good. I actually especially like the matte finish of the bezel as well as the dial. It is actually finished quite nicely, which gives it a more subdued look. At a higher price point of about $300 to $400, you do get options such as ceramic bezel and maybe even Miyota movements. But at this price point, $238, I think you're getting quite a lot of watch. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed it. It does help me a lot and encourage me. And I'll see you guys in the next vid. Bye.